Data Protection Commission. So that will be it for now. We'll bring you more updates on this story as well. But now let's move to SSNIT. Last week we began with pension, where we gained insight on how you can use your pension to own a property, that is pension home ownership scheme and structure. This time round, we are going straight to your SSNIT, which is a very interesting topic. Many have asked that how can you contribute to the conversation. The phone lines will be placed on the screen for you to also contribute to the conversation. I'm privileged here to have in studio, in person, the Public Affairs Manager, the person of Mr. Charles Akwe Gashon, to give us more insight with regards to our pension and our SSNIT, Social Security, all that you have to contribute and how the whole SSNIT structure plays holistically. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Metro Business.
Thank you, Winston, for having us on.
Great. Good to see you. Wonderful. First, enlighten us. How is our Social Security structure looking currently, and so far, a brief journey of how it came by?
All right. Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to our viewers. Until 2010, when you mentioned Social Security or pension, basically SSNIT was the main player in that industry. At the moment, we are not enjoying that monopoly that used to be there. So a law was passed somewhere in 2008 that introduced a 3-tier pension scheme. And with a 3-tier, the first 2 tiers are compulsory. The first tier is to provide monthly pension and other related benefits. And we have a tier 2 that provides lump sum upon retirement or when one exits from formal work. Then we have a tier 3, which is voluntary. So you look at the tier 2 and you are doing a 3rd tier to enhance what you are getting from tier 1 and tier 2. So this law that was passed in 2008, that is the National Pensions Act, Act 766, made SSNIT the operator of the first tier. And the first tier is also known as the Basic Social Security Scheme. So with that, SSNIT was given a mandate to provide monthly pension to every worker in Ghana. And so people who have worked and contributed for minimum 15 years qualify to receive monthly pension upon attaining age 60 or 55 years and above. And in the event that a worker is declared unfit to work again by qualified medical officers, then SSNIT will also have to pay what we call invalidity benefits. So that is paid to workers who have done at least 12 months of contribution within the last 36 months before the occurrence of the invalidity. So all you need to qualify for that monthly pension is 12 months. And also SSNIT pays what they call survivors benefit to people whose dependents whose relatives have passed on. So a worker or a pensioner dies before age 75, then we pay what we call survivors benefit. That is a one-time payment. It's a lump sum money given to the nominated dependents. And for people who are unable to make the minimum 180 months or 15 years of contribution before they turn 60, what SSNIT does is we give a refund of the person's contribution together with accrued interest using 75% of the prevailing treasury bill rate.
All right. I think you've made quite clear certain technicalities involved in coming to the final pension payment of individual. Some would like to understand that since the introduction of players in the tier system, how different now is the performance of SSNIT compared to the private players in the industry?
All right. So when it comes to pension provision, what happens is what SSNIT does, SSNIT is an insurance scheme. So we have Social Security and National Insurance Trust. So we are insuring people's incomes against old age, against permanent invalidity, and against death. So with the other players in the industry, what happens is, so I have worked 15 years or 35 years. Once I've done 35 years of contribution, SSNIT is going to give me a certain replacement value. And that replacement value is 60% of the average of my 3 years best annual incomes. So 60% of the average of my 3 years best annual income. And that is what SSNIT is going to give to me as monthly pension for life. Now, with the tier 2 or the second tier fund managers, whatever you brought in.
Before you get to the tier 2, you said best annual income. That means probably that period there was an increment in salary, and if probably you're taking the same salary structure for the past those years, that means nothing of that nature is going to reflect. Is that so?
So if your income has been same over 35 years,
yes.
If we are looking for the average of your 3 best years, it's just going to be the same. What we pick today will be the same as 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But we know we find ourselves in a system where salaries usually increase towards the tail end of our work life. So it will be very difficult to say that somebody has been on same salary for the past 35 years. So what we do is we identify of your life journey, your working life, which of the salaries that you insured with us are the best. So irrespective of where they came in, whether at the end of your work, towards the end of your work life or in between, we identify those best incomes you insured with us, and we give you that replacement value. And to the extent that you've done 35 years of contribution, what it means is that we are going to give you a replacement value of 60%. But remember, the premium that SSNIT is managing is 11% of the worker's income, because we receive 13.5% of the income. 2.5% is sent to NHIS on everybody's behalf. So what SSNIT actually manages is 11%. So based on the 11%, we guarantee you up to 60% of that average of your 3 best years income. So somebody might have started work now and the income is around 1,000 cedis. Towards the tail end of the person's work life, salary jumps to say 40,000 cedis. In determining your pension, to the extent that is the 40,000 that is forming the average, that is what is going to be used in determining your pension.
Is there an option where the individual can decide to pay more than the 11% in terms of negotiation?
Okay, so what actually we receive is the 13.5%.
Yes.
But we retain 11%. And the 13.5% is provisioned for by law. So if your income is 10,000, you cannot decide to pay, say, 20% of the 10,000.
Okay.
Because the law says SSNIT, you can receive up to 13.5%. Second tier, you can receive up to 5%. So if you want to do extra contribution, then we encourage that you send that to the third tier fund managers. Then they will also pay you a certain lump sum once you retire. But when it comes to SSNIT, I mentioned that it's an insurance scheme. So largely, what you bring in will determine what you take out. So if you are doing regular insurance and you go and insure your Toyota Corolla, or you walk to the insurance company and say, I'm insuring a Toyota Corolla, they'll give you a certain premium to pay. Once something comes up, what you have to do is that the insurance company will give you a replacement value based on the Corolla. Meanwhile, you probably were driving a Range.
Okay.
So, but you didn't tell the insurance company you are driving a Range. So you are paying a premium based on the Corolla. So in the case of accidents, so long as you did comprehensive insurance, they will give you a replacement value based on the Corolla. And there you cannot say, my vehicle is a Range. In our books, it is Corolla. So if you come to SSNIT, you have so many, about more than 70%,
right,
earning less than 3,000.
Interesting.
In fact, those earning insuring income of about 5,000 cedis with us, it is less than 8%.
Is it something that they must decide and be intentional about it and come to SSNIT and say, this is how much I want to earn and how can I attain that level, irrespective, probably my salary structure does not meet. What conditions must they fulfill?
All right, so the scheme, as I mentioned earlier, is open to the employed and the self-employed.
Okay.
So employees
self-employed, yes,
and self-employed. So for the self-employed, they can walk into the SSNIT office and tell us, this is what I earn. And based on what you earn, we'll give you a certain premium to pay. And so the 13.5% will be based on what they have declared as their earning. And we'll tell them that whatever you are going to declare will determine what you earn tomorrow as pension. Because your pension is actually a reflection of the income you insured. But for employees, what happens is what we receive from employers is what we credit to your account. But we have situations where people are earning about 10,000 cedis. And of this 10,000 cedis, 3,000 has been declared as basic and 7,000 cedis allowance. Clothing allowance, fuel allowance, all those allowances. So you see the basic as, but to the employee, I have 10,000. When it comes to ensuring your income, because contribution is paid based on basic earning, so the pension will be calculated based on the 3,000. So you've done 35 years, you have what they call the right to earn about 60% of your 3,000. It means you are going to start your pension on 1,800.
Interesting.
So the starting pension is increased every year. The one who declared that my full earning is 10,000, every employer put everything together as basic, it is 10,000. That person is going to start a pension on about 6,000. If the person has done the 35 years of contribution, 60% pension right, 60% of the 10,000 is 6,000. Meanwhile, technically, you were both earning the same amount. However, 7,000 of your money was declared as allowance, as a means to an extent exempt paying total contribution on it. So you come to the point and say, my pay was 10,000. And SSNIT looks at it and say, in our records, we see 3,000. And you've done very well, so you deserve 60% of whatever you insured. So two different people, different categorization of the income has brought about different pensions.
We'll discuss more on the self-employed bit. If you're watching us anywhere in the Northeast, Cape Coast, Accra, let us know what you think. And if you have questions as well, you can phone in into the numbers that will be floating down on the screens. Let us hear from you. This time around, let your questions be brief on 0245 834980. 0245-834-980. We are taking our first break. When we come back, trust me, we'll open the phone lines and let's hear from you. What TV? We have begun the conversation about your pension, your SSNIT, how much payment you have to focus on, especially on your basic. Trust me, do not just look at your FAT account the moment you get a letter at the end of the month, but you must question your accountant. How much is of your basic is being paid to SSNIT in terms of securing your retirement package at the end of your working years? Trust me, I've had cases where an old man goes to, after several years, dedication to his company, working many years, and at the end, he goes to SSNIT and he's receiving a mega salary payment for his pension. And he questions the whole system. What did I do wrong? These are the times that you have to ask the question whilst you're still working at this age, at this stage, and be answered as soon as possible. You can call into the show on the numbers that have been put on your screens. And trust me, 0245834980. And make sure you make it brief and snappy so that we can get others to also call in as well. I'm here with Mr. Charles Akwe Gashon, who is the Public Affairs Manager with SSNIT, giving us all the insight. My next question to him has to do with individuals who have jakpa or left the shores of Ghana, working outside the country, and would like to understand whether their SSNITs are safe or whether they can also contribute. But before we get that response, we have Oliver on the line who is just phoning. Oliver, welcome to Metro Business.
Thank you, sir.
Great. We are listening.
I'm a military personnel. I want to know, we are on Cap 30 or so.
Come again.
I want to know if you are a military personnel
Okay.
and you are on Cap 30 or so. I want to know the type of insurance that you are on it so that when you want to go to the place and access it, you can work direct to the office.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Oliver. Oliver is asking, he as a military personnel, what kind of insurance or pensions structure that can best favor him? It's a question Oliver is asking. All right, I think we can address Oliver, but you can also call into the numbers and we'll hear what you have to say.
All right, so for military officers, they have a special pension scheme for them by virtue of the nature of their job. So for such people, they can contribute to the tier 3. So with a tier 3, it is open to all. They are exempt from the SSNIT scheme and to a large extent the tier 2 as well. So the tier 3 is a top up for everyone. So they are free to look at the tier 3. That is not going to pay them monthly pension. That is going to give them a refund, or let me say, is going to pay them their total contribution plus accrued interest. It's a one-time payment. So they can talk to any of the tier 3 fund managers.
All right. So, Oliver, I think if your question is answered, let us know. And you can also call into the show via the numbers on your screen and let us hear from you. And now, the case of individuals outside the shores of Ghana, is their pension safe? And if not, how can they decide to contribute? Before we get to that, Malik from Bolga has also called in. Good afternoon, Malik. Welcome to Metro Business.
Yeah, good afternoon. My question is somebody who contributed on it at a young age, and he has wanted to contribute up to 6 to 7 years and lost his job. A very young guy. He has contributed even close to 9 years. Now, what is next for him?
All right. Thank you, Malik. Your question will be addressed shortly. So you can also call into the show via the same numbers on your screen. Let us get all your questions on the numbers on 0245 834980. This time we are speaking about your pension and how best, if you're working and you don't take this seriously, although you may be enjoying now, but all right. So let me hear Mr. Kashong. Mr. Kashong, you've heard what Malik has to say.
All right. So he's saying 57 years, right?
Yes.
So Malik, if you have done contribution, you have more than 180 months of contribution. What it means is that you have technically, by way of number of months, qualified for monthly pension. Now, in terms of age, you need to be 60 years to qualify for full pension. But if you are 55 years and above, you qualify to receive what we call reduced pension. So at 57, if you have lost your job, I will encourage you to apply for your pension. You can go to the Bolga branch and apply for your pension today. Once you start receiving pension, every year through the indexation, you'll be getting the upward adjustment. So your pension will be increased in the first month of every year. So January of 2024, should you apply for your pension now, January 2024, your pension will be increased. So it is up to you to decide when you want to go and apply for your pension. Some people, when they hear the term reduced pension, it scares them a bit, but it is an insurance. The retirement age is 60, and that is where the insurance was pegged at. But you are coming a bit earlier than the 60, so you lose a little portion, but through the annual indexation, you are to an extent restored. And for you, it means you are going to get pension for a longer period than the person who retires at age 60. So Malik, your money is safe with us. You can apply for your pension so long as you are 55 years or older.
Great, great.
Yet 3 employers are paying. It is consolidated. So employer A 2,000, employer A 3,000, employer B 2,000. You realize it sums up to 7,000. So where you have a challenge and it's not summing up, you can request for detailed statements. So it will give you the breakdown, what came from each of the employers. But anytime you print your statement, it is consolidated. And let me use this opportunity to urge every worker to ensure that if you have multiple employers, they are all supposed to pay for you. And they pay into the same Social Security account, or let me say your Ghana card number, which is now our SSNIT number. They use the same account details, and it is credited to you. That is going to enhance your pension. So don't say, I am already contributing. No. Employer A is giving you a certain amount. Employer B's own will top up and make it one, enhance pay, and that is going to enhance your pension as well.
His employer and renegotiate the terms of payment, possibly adjust to ensure his basics reflect in his lump sum.
All right, so Patrick, it is a job for you, the worker, and the employer. You need to engage your employer to consolidate your income, and once that is done, it affects your pension. With that, it is largely the organized labor and the employer. So the group you have in the office, you do that engagement, and once it is agreed, it goes to your benefit.
All right. So we've discussed the case of pension today. You've understood what goes into your SSNIT cumulatively. We'd like to take some final words, but in addition to your final words, the issue about those staying outside the country, what does the state of SSNIT look like?
All right, so if you were once a contributor and you're now outside the country, your contributions are not lost. What happens is you did the insurance under certain conditions, that when I'm 55 years or older, I should be paid monthly pension. Or in the event of invalidity, I should be paid invalidity pension. Or in case I'm no more, the money should be paid to my validly nominated dependents. So until any of such occurs, you cannot access the money. And once you are not in the country, it is difficult for us to determine your source of income. And whichever jurisdiction you find yourself in, Social Security applies. So you will have to contribute in that jurisdiction that you find yourself in. We will not be able to establish whether indeed the income the person is bringing back home to pay is based on, is actually earned, right? So if you are living outside, you cannot contribute into the SSNIT scheme. Unless your employers are here and you are on secondment or you are doing some function outside and you are being paid from here, then the employers can pay for you. But I cannot be sending money back home to be paid into my SSNIT account. That is not allowed. But let me say that for now, the SSNIT scheme is open to everybody. So I will encourage especially people doing their own jobs. If you are a consultant, if you're a private legal practitioner, if you are a lecturer that is doing his own business, moving from one institution to the other, and everything about you is part-time, please, you have the right to contribute to the SSNIT scheme and also earn pension. The SSNIT scheme is not only for formal sector workers, so hairdressers, tailors, the Uber driver, the kinky seller at the junction, the Indomie lady who is preparing Indomie at night at Insakina, anyone at all, please, the scheme is for you. Make sure you contribute to secure your tomorrow, because tomorrow you may not have the strength to continue working. And to pay is not very simple. All you need to do is to dial *711 *9#. If you have any issue, please feel free to contact us on 03